This video was initially about the Germany-Finland game, but I was able to edit it, so at the end, I'll also recap some other World Juniors action. Holy smokes, the Germans just played their first game of the year at the World Juniors, and they decided to make history. For the first time in World Junior history, Germany has beat Finland. That's it, that's the news. But it's pretty big news, as now in 26 games of international competition, Germany is now 1-25 against the Finns. Crazy, but that just goes to show you that this Germany team isn't anything to take lightly, and this was a fun one that went back and forth. Germany got out to the early lead, just over 5 in the first, but that wouldn't last long as Finland gets one back a couple minutes later. Then in the second, the game blew open. Finland takes their first lead as Halutinen scores just a minute and a half into the game, 2-1 Finns. Then not even a minute later, Germany gets back as Hübner pots one, and we're back even. Not even a minute later, Finland retakes the lead, Bau getting his first of the tournament, 3-2 Finland, and after a moment it seems like things were going to get away for the Germans. But then 10 minutes later, they scored 2 quick ones in a minute and a half, retaking the lead 4-3. They would hold on in the third behind 39 saves from Philip Deitel as Germany makes history with their first win ever against Finland. And I'm so sorry, I'm sure I butchered so many of these names. I wasn't listening to this game, just watching it. Now Finland has 2 losses as they're on the verge of playing in the relegation game if they're not careful. But who's the bigger surprise of the day? Germany putting up the win or the second loss for the Finns? Let us know down below. Just a brief update now. Since that game, because Finland beat Latvia today in head-to-head play, they could not be in that bottom position for Group A, having won the head-to-head match. So instead, it's going to come down to Germany against Latvia tomorrow, with Latvia needing to win in regular time. Otherwise, they're going to be facing off in the relegation match against either Switzerland or Norway. If you're wondering, by the way, they'll be replaced by Kazakhstan, which I think is pretty cool. Anyway, the other big news today was that Sweden absolutely dominated Canada, blanking them 2-0. But the far more entertaining game was the U.S. versus Czechia. That one was completely back and forth, and it actually went to the shootout. Czechia had the first goal in the shootout and actually had 3 chances to ice it with either a goal, then a save, or a goal. They didn't, and the U.S. would end up pulling through. But that's all for me. See you guys soon.
American, like, wasn't he born in Arizona?
Alright, here it is. What you've all been waiting for. Desert Dog fans, you've been hounding me, and fair enough, because today we're going to talk about the Arizona Coyotes. And yes, we'll get to the Colorado game, don't worry, but first let's talk about their game last night where they shut down the not-so-mighty Ducks. And while the 2-0 shutout may not seem like the hugest game to talk about, this was one where Arizona just kind of did everything right and won a game that they should win, which is what you want to do if you want to be labeled a good team. I mean, that's easier said than done. Look at the Maple Leafs the last couple of weeks, embarrassed twice by Columbus, but no, the Dogs got their win against the Ducks and it showed their maturity. 2 of those big dogs were goal scorers tonight as Clayton Keller claps one home on the power play. The Ducks almost get the takeaway but don't, have way too many men committed on the boards, and Coyotes play tic-tac-slap and it's into the back of the net for Keller's 13th. Then in the second, Lawson Krause gets one as the Yotes are forechecking hard. Bocelli steals it after a hard hit by Bukestad, then after a little dance, finds Krause with a beautiful pass, one-timer, handcuffs Gibson into the net, 2-0 Coyotes, and that would be it, besides for save after save from Connor Ingram. He had 28 on his way to his 4th shutout of the season, which ties him for the league lead. These are very blessed days. He's having a career year, 13-7, doubling his win total of 6 last year with the team, and has a 2.49 GAA and a .919 save percentage. He's getting those wins, but it's not just the lowly Ducks that the Coyotes have beaten up on. Some people in Nova Scotia call them Coyotes also. Just the other night, the game before this one, they came back from down 4-0 against the Colorado Avalanche and beat them in overtime. That game was bonkers. It still seems like it was just a myth in NHL folklore, but no, the Arizona Coyotes clawed their way back against Mac and Drouin to beat them 5-4. And even in overtime, the Avalanche looked like they were for sure going to win, cycling it with McKinnon, who just basically played the whole overtime, but thanks to some defensive efforts by Lawson Krause, the man was a machine in OT. The final seconds saw them scrape out the win. Thursday gets it to Zuck, who shoots, but it pops up. McBain knocks it in, and it's game. Mullet Arena goes wild as Georgiev has a meltdown in the corner trying to smash his stick. And just like that, are the Coyotes good again? I feel like all signs are pointing towards yes, and I would like it to be true. Good again? When was the previous time? I don't know. But as much crap as Arizona gets on here, including from me, it's just sort of ingrained. Like, we grew up with Wayne Gretzky as the head coach. They were garbage. They didn't have a prospect pool to bet their team on. However, embarrassing arena situation aside, we're not talking about that team anymore. I hope the Coyotes get back to the playoffs because I very much enjoy being on the 2012 wagon with Shane Doan, one of my favorite players of that era, and Mike Smith. But do you agree with the Arizona Coyotes being good again, or is it just a flash in the pan? Let us know down below.
Flash in the pan.
What a banger of a game we had last night in Motown between the Red Wings and pointers, goals galore, and a save of the day candidate. Only a candidate because there were a lot of nice saves today, including Rousseau at the World Juniors, but this one had a little bit of everything. After Larkin started things off with a shorty, then Forsberg tying it back up, UC Saros would absolutely rob Patty Kane with a beautiful glove save. Detroit's on the power play. Goss Despair gets the shot on net. There's a scramble. Squirts out to the Cat, who finds Kane all alone. He fires it on net to score, and the yellow glove of the Saros extends back as he's getting trapped up by his own teammate, snagging it with the glove. Beautiful save on Kane, who's just left there looking in disbelief. He can't believe he didn't score, and things remain tied. Speaking of Kane, his advanced stats are saying what I think a lot of us expected. His shooting and finishing is great. He's not really driving the play and not contributing a whole lot on defense. But this one would remain tied at least until the dying seconds of the first, when Rasmussen finds Wallman as he beats Saros' blocker side to retake the lead. Then in the second, Nyquist and Forsberg would rally the Preds back, scoring a breakaway shorty to bring them back even. Forsberg would get another as the Red Wings turned over behind their net, as Nashville jumps out to their first lead of the game. 10 minutes into the third, the Cow would answer for Detroit as they break in 2-on-1 as he smashes his 17th of the season, completing the Gordie Howe hattie, as he also had a scrap at the end of the second. You gotta love the Gordie Howe hat trick, one of hockey's most unique stats, and a little more fun when the Red Wings of all teams get one at home. Then, after both teams would trade goals one more time, we're headed to overtime, and after a solid possession in OT by Detroit, DeBrincat cycles it to Raymond, who just walks in, uses Ryan O'Reilly as a human screen, and rips one between his legs into the back of the net. What a game winner with a great silly to boot as he scores his first in 8 games. And while O'Reilly has been great this year with the Preds, you expect a little more than a lazy stick check when a guy's coming down on you in OT. But Detroit wins it as they blow the lid off the barn, and everyone's partying. These Wings aren't really getting the wins after signing Kane, 3-7 in their last 10, but they're fun to watch. I can't wait to see them in the playoffs if they make it this year. Currently, they're just a win out of wild card. Lucas Raymond, the overtime hero, is a player who just looks like he would shine in the postseason and find that next level. But what have you thought of Detroit since adding Kane? They've looked fun, but are they real contenders? Let us know below. First of all, Happy New Year. Second of all, very weird situation in the New Year's Eve matchup between Tampa and Montreal. Montembeault grabs a shot, Tampa acts like the play's been whistled dead, the arena starts playing music, however in their end, Montreal plays on, they shoot the puck the length of the ice and score a goal on essentially an empty net. First of all, the missed opportunity here, this could have been a goalie goal, where the goalie technically wasn't pulled, which I believe would be the first in NHL history, but why did this happen? One post I saw online from Mike McKenna, who's a pretty good follow if you like goalie stuff, is that this is the fault of the arena DJ. Right into the pads of Samuel Montembeault. And I understand his perspective, especially from a goalie. Hockey is not like basketball or lacrosse, where sometimes music plays during game time. No, if the music's on, generally that's an indication that the whistle has been blown, and especially if you're a goalie on the other end of the ice, that's probably almost like an automatic shut-off switch for your brain. Okay, take a break. The official in the corner also did have the whistle in his mouth, but one thing you have to note, in the NHL, the play is not to be blown dead when a goalie makes a save unless the opposing team is putting pressure on. So if you just pass the puck back to your goalie, they can't smother it and get a whistle. Here, the goalie makes the save, and the Tampa player immediately turns around to the bench before the play is whistled, so play goes on. Definitely a bit of an unfortunate goal. I mean, in a way, it feels unfair to the goalie, but you can't really call this back because the players did nothing wrong. Really, the ref did nothing wrong. I think even signals for play to continue. The biggest thing is on the Tampa players, and to a secondary degree, the arena staff, but they were also playing at home. But those are just my thoughts. Let me know yours down below. It is, sadly, the final day for World Junior action. The big event is obviously the Toronto Maple Leafs waived Ilya Samsonov yesterday and called up his replacement today. That's it. He's done. They're done with him, letting in 5+ a night, and he's on waivers as they look to make a move in net. And boy, oh boy, does this whole thing not give you deja vu with Jack Campbell and the Edmonton Oilers. That is, by the way, former Leafs goalie Jack Campbell. But the big difference here is that Samsonov is only on a 1-year deal, while Campbell is getting paid until 26-27. So good for him, bad for the Oilers. But back to the Leafs. Samsonov is on waivers, so what does that mean? Well, First, it means that Martin Jones is sticking around as he's been decent in his short Leafs tenure, going 4-3 with a 2.73 GAA and a .917 save percentage. Nothing earth-shattering, but it's giving the high-powered Leafs a chance to win. Unlike Samsonov, who's let in 21 goals in the last 4 games he's played. Saw a pretty incredible advanced stat today that in 15 games played, Samsonov is in the bottom of goals saved above expected with negative 13.3. That means he's let in 13 more goals than the advanced stats model predicted, or put another way, nearly 1 bad goal a game. Compare that with, for example, the New York Rangers. Both Jonathan Quick and Igor Shesterkin have saved nearly N goals above expected. Jonathan Quick doing so in 13 games. Pretty remarkable. Anyway, we learned today that the Leafs would be calling up from their AHL affiliate, the Marlies, Dennis Hildeby. And who is he? Well, Hildeby is huge. 6'6", 6'7", depending on the site. He's out of Sweden and was drafted in the 4th round by the Leafs in 2022, so a dubious draft pick. He played well last year in the SHL and came over to join the Marlies at the end of the year and has started for them this season. So far in 15 games, he's 7-5-3 with a 2.2 GAA and a .919 save percentage. Pretty good numbers for a young player, and now presumably he'll be getting his first crack in the majors. And while it's interesting to see how this behemoth of a goalie does, it's just sad news all around for Samsonov. Like, this is the dude who got you through to the second round of the playoffs for the first time in forever, and now he's gone. The Leafs do seem, however, dedicated to rehabilitating the player, getting his mind right, and hopefully he'll be back up in the big show before long. I've seen some insane takes on Twitter, including that he's playing so poorly because of the mental toll from arbitration with the Leafs earlier, which is just wild. But let me know what you think. Will Samsonov go the Campbell route and just down a dark path in the AHL, or will he find his form